The island, as you all know, is filled with many regions and many different places. From the jungles of the Great Marsh to the Great Plains, where every creature goes to hunt, usually. And then finally to the harsh black desert, where everything almost goes to die. However, what if I told you there is a location you guys do not even know yet? Well, you are in luck, because I present to you the cousin of the Black Desert, also known as the Great Desert. As you can see, this desert stretches for miles, making it by far one of the few most biggest biomes on the island yet. Unlike its black counterpart, however, there's a few shrubs here that some creatures would love to eat. Because despite how lifeless and empty it looks, there's actually a few creatures enjoying this place. And this creature is what we're after today, to try and discover and try and research. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you one of the most bizarre, one of the Tyrannosaur family members, and by far, to me, the most coolest creature so far we've came across. This is a Bistahieversor, a unique but yet very bizarre Tyrannosaur that existed during when the dinosaurs roamed the planet. As you can see, it is a really strange Tyrannosaur. Unlike their Tyrannosaur cousins, they live in usually hot, dense climates, like the desert or even the Black Desert, making them one of the only few natural predators around here. And with a good reasoning, because these creatures are not only built for the deserts, but as you can see, they have the perfect coloration camouflage for this region. Because as you can see, they are usually characterized by having light tan skin and black accents, such as black underbelly colors, or even a black jaw, most commonly. However, the main thing you may have noticed is that it has a really peculiar set of quills, or hairs, or even proto-feathers on its tail. Now, because of how elusive this creature is, we have no idea what these quills did. We're not sure if they're used for defense, sex purposes, or simply just being there. Right now, they look cool, that's for sure. However, Bistahieversors, they are carnivores, meaning they will hunt for meat. Because they are tyrannosaurs, their power comes in their heads. As you can see, they have razor-sharp teeth, which they use to gore into their prey and slice their jugulars. Looks like this Bistahieversor is targeting that Kentrosaurus. Now, Kentrosauruses are equally just as dangerous. They have spikes covering them, and they have two shoulder ones, making this Bistahieversor's work much more hard than it has to be. However, still not deterred, the Bistahieversor goes in. And with a swift motion, the Bistahieversor's got a good hold on the Kentrosaurus' plate, but that's when he whacks him off. However, the Kentrosaurus seems to not be happy about this attack. Defeated, and of course exhausted, and knowing the Kentrosaurus is stronger, the Bistahieversor has to leave, or else he might suffer worse than just a few cuts. As the Kentrosaurus continues to live its life out here in the Great Desert. Because of their size, Bistahieversors need some food that can sustain them for at least a week, just like their Tyrannosaurus rex cousins. That is why they must resort to sometimes smaller prey at will. Luckily for the Bistahieversor, because of his only medium-sized body, he can run very fast, enough to catch up with a grown Gallimimus. So thus, that is why one of them will become his next meal. With a swift motion again. As you can see, it has successfully caught one of the Gallimimuses, and now it prepares to feast on it. Everything may look fine for the Bistahieversors, but sadly for them, they do have competition. And that competition is one of the few creatures that still lives in the desert regions of this island, and that is the Majungasaurus, attracted to a feast. As you can see, the both of them are even. Looks like to be even in terms of body mass. However, the Bistahieversor, being much more powerful and actually a little bit bulkier than his Majungasaurus friend here. The Majungasaurus wants that carcass, but he knows he's got to fight for it. Sadly for the Majungasaurus, he knows he's powerless, so he has to leave. Since the Bistahieversor will not bow down, and that is why it remains to this day, currently as the king of the regular Great Desert. Meanwhile, in the more marshier parts of the desert, Bistahieversors, they have a very peculiar mating practice. Sadly, kind of an elusive one, so we're just going to do some guessing here. When it is time for the male to show off, he really shows off. First, he shows off the female, his colors underneath his throat, indicating that, well, he's of course a very handsome man. Then, he proceeds to show off the quills around his tail in a spinning formation. Then he proceeds to mating bellows. And of course, then he waits for her verdict. Seems like the female has obliged. Now the male has a mate. However, being such a peculiar species, sadly, things could sometimes get physical between males and their mates. The one who wins her heart will instantly be dubbed a new mate. Just like other tyrannosaurs, these males know they can't just charge at each other, because one or the other is very deadly and can easily kill the other. That's why they sometimes use their tails or their heads to sometimes bash into each other. Sadly, this male was not careful enough, and he's just been bitten severely. Males will typically scratch each other with their tiny arms, and sometimes they will do face biting, which is an indicator that they are dominant. Sometimes usually do that for mating purposes, and of course to show off dominance, just like their other tyrannosaur cousins. Unfortunately, powerless and now battered and bruised, the one on the left has lost, as this one on the right keeps his mate for another season. And now it is time for the female to deposit her eggs. She usually picks out a more grassier part of the island in the desert. Or if it was the black desert, she would pick out the rock slides. She would scan the area before digging. And finally, she'll lay her eggs. The grass in the marsh should keep them warm from the potential cold. Because a quick side note here, the Great Desert, actually is one of the few deserts that can suffer snow, meaning this is one of the few deserts on the island that can actually suffer from snowy climates, even the Black Desert. That is why these creatures always choose to mate right around spring or the summer, where snow is so little and their eggs can hatch without freezing to death in the sub-zero temperatures of these two climates. Bistahieversors, they actually have a really unique behavior. You see, because of this peculiar egg laying, sadly, there's a sad truth to this. Any nests that are left alone for too long, other carnivores will get any ideas. Just like most predators and most tyrannosaurs, Bistahieversors, they are not afraid to commit cannibalism. Thus, sadly, this means males or rival females, they will sometimes snack on one or the other's eggs if they are left alone for too long. That and also prevent future competition. But of course, they are also not afraid of chowing down on ones who are sick, elderly, or even dying or just dead. Being a harsh climate they live in, sadly, cannibalism is sometimes optional. Thus, that is why this predator is quite not only intimidating looking, but also a pretty metal animal of the inhabitants on this island. But until science discovers more about this creature, until then, this is all we have time for. But hopefully in the future, we can discover more about our quilly, spiky friend here as he journeys off into the sunset.